All right, the fourth chakra. So again, the fourth chakra is known as the water element. So now you can imagine all the characteristics of the water, correct? So when you look at the fourth chakra, so the center, the major point being the water, and then the top air, which is the next point, and then you come like this. So like I was showing you, telling you earlier, so when you are in a fourth chakra like this, the center being the fourth, and when you move to the top, five, and when you move in the clockwise direction, the next point can be only one because there is no six, right? So then this becomes two, three, four, and five, like this. So this is the easiest way to remember. So the fifth point is the air point, and then the earth, space, fire, and water. This is water. And the location of the fourth point is this on the top right side of the chest. So that's about the fourth point location and the elements within the fourth point. So the color is black. It's interestingly, a lot of us will imagine water being like, some bright blue color, watery color, but this is talking about, a black color. And so Cliffs is saying the diagram shows the anti-clockwise. The movements within the fifth point is anti-clockwise. But when you are identifying the elements within, this is the best way to go. So this is the identification of the element. This is the vibration of the or the vibratory direction of the point. Like I was showing you earlier. So if I kind of draw it like this, follow the pencil, my pen strike, right? If I go like this, see, the strike is going like this. So this is the anti-clockwise movement. This is the clockwise movement. So it starts with the clockwise at the first, anti-clockwise at the second, again at the clockwise at the third, and at the fourth it is anti-clockwise. So remember it like this. It's easier to remember. And at fifth point, you'll have both directions, both clockwise and anti-clockwise movement because that's an air point. And once you go to the top, now here the direction has shifted. If you see here, so every even point is anti-clockwise, every odd point is clockwise. That's the way to remember. Okay. And the color is black. The upper right chest, the defining quality of the water point is courage. And the main feelings here are courage. So you will see all the opposite feelings and the positive and the negative both at every point. So the courage is the defining quality, humility, surrender, fear, worry, and dismay. These are the feelings at the chakra 4. And similar vibrations as the ninth chakra, and direction is counterclockwise. So let's read the text. One stormy night, a young man crossed a river to see his beloved. He grabbed onto a log floating downstream and arrived at her home soaked to the bone. Ecstatic to see him, she asked. He had climbed up her to her balcony. He said he used a rope she had left for him, but she denied leaving any rope. And then they discovered the rope was a snake hanging from the balcony. The next day, after the storm has passed, the young man returned home and found that the log he has used to cross the river was in fact a corpse. So love had blinded him to the dangers and gave him the dauntless courage to reach his beloved. So as we advance from the fiery energy of the third chakra to calming energy of the fourth chakra, the pitch of love begins to soften. This doesn't mean that love has disappeared, but rather it has matured and become more serene. In the third chakra, emotional turmoil can conceal the pure divine love within us. But as the turbulence settles at the fourth chakra, love comes to the forefront. The fiery energy is calmed by the soothing touch of the water. So, upon reaching the fourth chakra, your consciousness shifts and you feel reassured. Previously, you may have felt you are pushing forward on your own, but you s- now you sense guidance and support coming to you. Even though it's a feeling you can't quite explain, nevertheless it brings calm and marks the start of the true courage. As you come to understand that you are not alone on your journey, you feel more settled. So if you observe, I mean, like I was telling, right, each point as we move through these points and within the points, there are several stages we go through. When we call a stage is nothing but it's a conscious shift. A stage is nothing but conscious shift, right? So it takes courage to act on the inspirations of the heart. Here, courage, we need to understand courage as something you feel confident and comfortable about. So let's see what the dictionary says about the courage. So, ability to do something that frightens one. But here, what is the frightening thing here? Or strength to face greater grief or pain. Here, it is the courage of the conviction. That's how the courage should be understood. Here, it's not the bravery or valor or anything. It's the now the doubt of the spiritual progress. The doubts are removed. When the doubt is removed, the courage comes in, the positiveness comes in, hope comes in. There is a one experiment I was reading recently. So there is this guy, he takes, the rats and he put them on a water container. And the rat will try to escape out of the container. It tries to climb the container, but it cannot climb. It tries and tries. And after 20 minutes, it gives up and it is dead. Then what he does, he takes the next set of the rats. So he know that they can go for 20 minutes. At the 18th minute, he pulls out the rat and puts it on the table. And after 5 minutes, again, he drops the rats into the beaker. And again, they're trying to survive. And then, before again, the next 18th minute, he pulls them out. And then he puts them back in. And the third time, when he puts the rats back in, they go for 3 days. So the rats in the initial case, which died in 20 minutes, they go for 3 days and still struggling. Because when he pulled them out twice, it gave them a hope to continue to survive. So that kind of a hope you can think of as courage. It's not the bravery. Now I can, face the lion. It's not like that. So the courage is very much misunderstood in a very spiritual terms. Courage versus valor or bravery are two different things. Here, courage is where you become very much comfortable with your state, you become very much comfortable with your surroundings, you sort of become in tune with your surroundings, and then there is an immense hope comes into your life. This hope is what keeps us going. A lot of times we kind of lose this hope of life when we become sick with some disease, whatever that is. We lose the hope very fast because now we are Googlers. All our knowledge comes through Google, and everyone. If you Google about something, 100 people says 100, and the most negative thing appeals to you, and we lose hope faster. When we lose hope, then it's like the first rat. When we find this hope, find this courage, it doesn't matter what's going on with me. I'll keep pushing myself and continue. So that's what is courage. So the courage of the heart. It takes courage to act on the inspirations of the heart. The courage to overcome temptations, overcome lethargy, and do what is right. Listening to the heart and following its guidance takes courage, and it's not restricted to grand deeds alone. Reaching for the highest potential by following the heart's guidance requires courage every day. At the fourth chakra, you start developing this courage. Remember that the heart region is the realm of opposites. So while you are developing courage, you are also overcoming fear. At the time of creation, when the soul began, so this is an interesting thing, we should try to understand. At the time of creation, when the soul came into being, the first samskara it formed was fear. The first impression of the soul, I mean, at the beginning, it is talking about when the first mind came into the being. If you read Lalaji, he talks about it. When the first mind came into the being, it formed its identity. It felt it is separate from the creator. When it felt it separated from the creator, it felt it is alone. And that means its thought has developed, its identity has developed. So this identity is called, there is no proper word for it in English. So they called it ego, ahankar. Today we think of ego as some kind of an attitude we show, but that is also ego because English is a limited language. But the in spiritual terms, the ego means the identity of the self. So when it identified itself separate from God, separate from its creator, it it developed this fear. So the fear is the impression, the first impression the soul has developed. So the soul was gripped in a feeling of estrangement and that created fear. Estrangement is being alone. It has become the stranger. It's separated from its creator. So when the soul contemplated, why am I afraid? Fear vanished. In our everyday life, fear is often the result of estrangement between the heart and the mind. I'll read this again. In our everyday life, fear is often the result of estrangement between the heart and the mind. The conflict between inspiration of the heart and the desire of the ego creates fear inside. So, fear can obscure clarity and love and replace them with insecurity. So, this can be seen in relationships where one or both partners are insecure, constantly seeking assurance through gifts, attention, or demands on each other's time. So, relationships based on fear require constant attention and energy to maintain. In contrast, relationships rooted in love are characterized by willingness to give without expecting anything in return. So, love enables two people to communicate volumes with just a look and allows them to support each other effortlessly. So, we'll stop here. We'll discuss more on this topic in our next session. But well, we can go into meditation once, if there are any comments, questions, observations. You can unmute and speak. All right. So everyone is silent, so I'll stop my recording.